Welcome aboard the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad, a heritage railway where history comes alive through the rhythmic chug of steam and diesel engines. This legendary rail line cuts through the breathtaking landscapes of Maryland's Allegheny Mountains, offering one of the most immersive train experiences in America. But beyond the scenic views and vintage locomotives, this railway hides some surprising stories, from its hidden tunnels to a train robbery legend and even a forgotten ghost town along the route. Stay with us as we uncover the unknown side of the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad. The origins: a railroad born from competition. The story of this scenic railroad begins with its parent company, the Western Maryland Railway, which was chartered in 1852. But did you know that this railway was actually built to challenge the dominance of the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad? The two railroads were bitter rivals, constantly fighting over passenger and freight traffic in the Appalachian region. The Western Maryland Railway was famous for its faster and more direct routes, designed to bypass the bottlenecks of its competitors. However, this intense competition drained its finances, and by 1973, the Western Maryland Railway was fully merged into the larger chassis system, eventually fading from the maps. But not all was lost. In 1981, a group of railroad enthusiasts decided to resurrect a portion of this historic line, giving birth to the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad in 1988. The route: a ride through forgotten history. The Western Maryland Scenic Railroad follows a 17-mile journey from Cumberland to Frostburg, but what many don't realize is that this stretch of track holds some fascinating secrets. Take, for instance, the Helmstetter's Curve, one of the most photographed spots along the route. But what's lesser known is that this sweeping horseshoe curve was strategically built in the early 20th century to prevent derailments on the steep terrain. Before this curve was engineered, early steam engines struggled with the sharp elevation changes, sometimes rolling back dangerously. And then there's the Brush Tunnel, a dark, mysterious passageway carved through the mountains. What most passengers don't realize is that this tunnel was once the setting for an unusual robbery attempt in the 1920s. Legend has it that a group of thieves planned to jump onto a moving train inside the tunnel, intending to steal cargo. But as they made their move, a sudden steam release from the locomotive scalded them, forcing them to abandon the heist. The locomotives, bringing giants back to life. One of the stars of the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad is C&O No. 1309, an impressive 2662 mallet-type steam locomotive, the largest operating steam locomotive of its kind in the United States. But here's something you might not know: this locomotive was the last steam engine ever built for a U.S. railroad. It rolled out of the Baldwin Locomotive Works in 1949, just as the age of diesel power was beginning. After retiring in 1956, No. 1309 spent decades rusting away in a museum before a $3 million restoration project brought it back to life in 2021. And for the diesel lovers, the railroad also operates F7 locomotives, classic engines from the 1950s that once pulled America's fastest passenger trains. A town lost to time, the forgotten stop. Did you know that a forgotten ghost town once stood along the Western Maryland Railway's tracks? Tucked away in the hills between Cumberland and Frostburg was a small settlement known as Corriganville. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, it was a booming mining town, complete with a rail depot, saloons, and even a small amusement park. But as the mining industry declined and passenger trains stopped running, Corriganville slowly faded into history. Today, only a few scattered ruins remain, hidden in the dense Maryland forests. The train doesn't stop there anymore, but keen-eyed passengers might just spot remnants of old foundations and railroad relics if they look closely. Why this railroad almost disappeared? Despite its incredible history, the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad nearly shut down, not once, but twice. By the early 2000s, declining ridership and expensive maintenance put the railroad in financial trouble. Then, in 2016, the costly restoration of No. 1309 drained resources further, pushing the railroad to the brink of closure. But thanks to passionate volunteers, rail fans, and donors, the railroad survived. No. 1309 finally returned to steam, and the line continues to attract thousands of visitors each year. The tunnel that's said to be haunted. The Brush Tunnel, one of the most iconic parts of the journey, isn't just known for its dramatic entrance and eerie darkness. It's also rumored to be haunted. Railroad workers have reported strange shadows moving inside the tunnel, while some visitors claim to hear whispers and phantom train sounds. The legend comes from an old accident. A brakeman was supposedly killed inside the tunnel when he was crushed between two railcars in the early 1900s. Ever since, local stories claim his spirit still lingers in the darkness, watching as trains pass through. A mystery in the tracks. The unsolved 1910 train fire. One of the strangest mysteries in the history of the Western Maryland Railway is the 1910 train fire that occurred near Cumberland. A freight train carrying industrial chemicals and flammable cargo suddenly burst into flames under mysterious circumstances. Some witnesses claim to have seen a man running from the scene just before the fire started, but no one was ever caught. Adding to the mystery, railroad records from that time are missing, and the true cause of the fire remains unknown to this day. The train that carried a secret cargo during World War II, the Western Maryland Railway, played a critical role in the transportation of military equipment. But here's what most people don't know. Some trains on this line carried top-secret cargo, including parts for early atomic research projects. Documents later revealed that heavily guarded trains moved uranium and other classified materials through Maryland as part of secret government operations. The exact locations and details remain classified, but historians believe the Western Maryland Railway was used because it was less monitored than larger, more well-known railroads. It almost became a luxury tourist line in the 1990s. There was a proposal to transform the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad into an exclusive luxury train experience, similar to the Orient Express. The plan involved adding fine dining, luxury sleeper cars, and first-class services, turning the train into a high-end vacation destination. However, the idea was eventually scrapped due to high costs and concerns that it would take away from the railroad's historic authenticity. Today, the railroad still offers premium dining experiences, but it remains focused on preserving its history rather than turning into a luxury resort train. The train that has carried everything, even a circus. Over the years, the Western Maryland Railway transported just about everything: coal, steel, lumber, mail, and even circus animals. In the early 1900s, traveling circuses often relied on railroads to move their performers and animals across the country. One of these trains made a stop in Cumberland, Maryland, unloading elephants, lions, and performers straight onto the streets for a local parade. Today, the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad continues this tradition of transporting entertainment, offering holiday trains, dinner trains, and even murder mystery experiences, proving that this railway has always been more than just a way to move cargo. A railroad full of hidden stories. The Western Maryland Scenic Railroad isn't just about breathtaking views. It's a moving piece of history, filled with hidden tunnels, lost towns, and near-forgotten stories. Whether it's a haunted tunnel, a mystery fire, or a real-life train chase, this railway holds surprises at every turn. So the next time you hear the whistle echo through the valleys, remember, you're not just traveling the rails. You're stepping back in time, on a journey filled with hidden legends, lost towns, and railway ghosts of the past. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more incredible railway stories. Until next time.